Okay, welcome everybody to the webinar. It's great to have you all here. The title of the webinar today is Massive Business Audience. How do you generate that? High level connections as well. How do you do all this? I'll be covering this. My name is Sunil Bhaskaran and I'll be leading your webinar. A couple of things about me. Firstly, I'm the founder of what's called the Global Meetup Mastermind. It used to be called the Global Meetup Mastermind. It's now called the Global Business Mastermind. I have about 120,000 plus people in my meetup organization spread out across the country. And we're growing at about 800 to 1,000 new members a month. I've been a mentor, owner, author, and speaker since 1991. I was also a successful entrant in what's called the Shark Tank for Experts back in 2016 for presenting some of the ideas that I'm presenting here today. There are actually way more ideas, and these are no longer ideas. These are actually working models, working in a sense that they're producing results and producing money, cash flow, and profits for the people that I teach. My vision is to have 100 million joyful and successful entrepreneurs in the world by the end of 2027. And we're seeing more and more every day. I'm convinced that this is going to happen. Especially with the structures around Meetup, but more so with the collaborative partners that I've been attracting across the country and around the world. There are two things that I provide in terms of a business, in terms of services rendered. Firstly, I create a pipeline done for you, for some of you who have a bigger budget and want to spend more time on your service rather than on your marketing. I actually put appointments with clients and collaborators in front of you. This is something that I don't do a lot these days because, frankly, we have quite a lot of clients in this area, and I'm no longer really taking any more clients in this area. The second thing I do is I run what's called the Global Business Mastermind, and I'll be sharing about this very shortly here. Promise you I'll keep the information about myself to a minimum and get to the content here as quickly as I can. So the Global Business Mastermind, a couple of things that we do, a couple of intentions in that group. One is to allow you to super collaborate with the best. And I do mean super collaborate. By that, I mean being able to set up joint ventures with people who are at your level or a little bit above, maybe even way above, if the partnership makes sense. I run it with like a pretty tight ship, but a friendly tight ship, and making sure that people who collaborate get results and also have the requisite structures to make it profitable and a win-win for everybody. You get an opportunity to be promoted to 120,000 people, and I can do that because I have the resources to do so. It's contingent on your branding being up to par, and so in the mastermind, we work with people who are members to make sure that their branding is up to par. We also teach you how to build a large webinar audience nationally and globally. I am both a coach and a quarterback in this mastermind. So I coach people, but I'm also on the field playing with you. So I also collaborate with my people in the mastermind. That's what makes me unique. Those people who know you, those people who know me, will say that without reservation. I also play with my clients on the field, helping them produce results. I work with what are called wolf packs in each city across the United States. We've set up people who are my masterminds to collaborate. Even if you're not from that city, you have an opportunity to collaborate with people who are in that city and generate an audience. So let's say you're in San Jose, you want to join a wolf pack in Boston. We have a collaborator in Boston, Ron Coming, who is happy to collaborate with people and do webinar exchanges. So you can actually promote from the comfort of your home in San Jose to a pretty good audience in Boston, as an example. We also train you how to combine platforms instead of just using one, so you get less risk in your business and a greater chance of returns. And the primary platforms we use right now are Meetup and LinkedIn. We're not married to that. We're not part of Meetup or LinkedIn, obviously, but we use a combination of those two platforms in a very innovative but concrete way to build visibility for yourself on Google. What we found is I get about 30% of my business from people searching for me on Google. And they do not find my websites necessarily. They find my meetup groups first. That builds enough credibility for them to want to talk to me more, because when you have an audience I always tell people, if you have audience, you will travel. If you have audience that builds credibility, it does way more than build credibility. It also shows the people who want to collaborate with you that you have some currency, some way to collaborate with them that's solid, concrete, and workable. So I have obviously a very large audience. Some of you may have smaller audiences, but if you keep growing your audiences in a good way, and I assert you can with Meetup and LinkedIn combos in the ways that I described rather affordably, then you can start reaching out to high-level connectors as well and engage them more powerfully. So what are we gonna cover on this training? Firstly, I'm gonna cover new information not shared with many, except for people in my mastermind. Of course, I'm not going to share everything, but I'm going to give you at least the bare bones simplified so you can understand what it is that I cover in more detail in my programs. Secondly, how to do audience generation in an innovative, interesting, and workable way. This is not theory. This is stuff that actually works. Just this morning, I had, about three calls with major collaborators in different cities, including London in the UK, Chicago, and Boston. So this is no longer something that's theoretical. It's something that's actually happening in my mastermind. How to avoid the mistakes and how to become the top 5%. 95% of the people out there are marketing, but their marketing messages are not getting anywhere really solid. Now, you shouldn't take this really badly because it's no reflection on yourself necessarily. It could be a reflection on your branding. But these are things that can be worked through. And I want to share with you some of the mistakes, which just identifying the mistakes will help you move into a better plateau, a higher plateau of performance in your marketing. The basic steps for generating an audience, and then the opportunity to start acting right now. Okay. There are simple, concrete steps to take to make this real as well. So I'm going to make that really simple in terms of the next step for you to take. Who is this training for? It's for business owners, people with an expertise, people who are coaches, speakers, authors, bloggers, anyone with an expertise in an area. Even if you've been working in an area for a few years or a few months, it's possible that you could be a facilitator or a curator of information, let alone still be an expert for your community. Most people, some people overestimate their abilities, but underestimate their expertise. So there's probably a lot more that you know, but you're probably grading yourself on a different scale that makes your expectations a little too high. And so, if you correct your expectations, but generate the narrative that accurately represents your expertise, then you're going to cook with nuclear power. So hope that lands and you understand that, because that's really where most of the experts, or actually all the experts that I've worked with, start gaining more traction is when they identify their true expectations or their realistic expectations and up their ability to describe their expertise in a compelling manner. We work primarily with service professionals, but we also work occasionally with people with products and memberships, etc., and similar kinds of businesses. Okay. So if you're feeling stuck, whether it's a good stuck or bad stuck, some of you are feeling stuck because you're doing pretty well, but you're still kind of like at a good plateau. It's comfortable, but you got to go to the next level. Or if you're stuck at a plateau where you're not producing results, then today's going to be a great opportunity to create and make a new future real. Now, I want you to take this and not listen to this like I'm some kind of new age guru here. I'm talking about something very real, tangible, in the sense that most people are stuck because without an articulated new future that you want to create or move into, a new future in your business, a vision for your business, something that's brand new for yourself, then your biology will probably have you focus on the past, because your biology wants you to survive. And to survive sometimes necessitates that you stay comfortable. And even some kind of long-term suffering may occur to your biology as more tolerable than taking a risk to create something new and go for it. So my encouragement to you is to give yourself permission today to really create a new future, to move out of that stuck plateau into a higher plateau. So in alignment with that, if you're building a future and you're creating a new future, you almost inevitably have to build an audience. Now, most of you will look at me and go, like Sunil, you're completely nuts. Of course, I have to build an audience. But you fail to look at it a little bit more deeply. So the answer to this question, why build an audience, is really important. It's kind of like, when you're looking to get married, you want to ask yourself, well, why do you want to get married? Why do you want to have a relationship with somebody? Why do you want to have kids? Why do you want to live in this particular country? And if you go deep enough, you'll probably save yourself a lot of time and headache. So there are two reasons or two answers to this question, why build an audience? One is very obvious. The obvious answer is you got to build clientele and business. But the other one is not so obvious, but probably more important and critical to understand for yourself. And that answer, or one of the answers, is clearly that you need an audience to test and refine your marketing. No marketing that I know is perfect the first time you come out with it. I've almost never seen that. Almost never happens. If it happens, you're very lucky, and I wouldn't count on luck to do your business. So you need an audience to test and refine your marketing. You can start with an original first idea, but you got to have an audience to test and refine. Otherwise, it's too theoretical, and without an audience to test and refine it, you are not going to improve your marketing. So the key to building a business is, one, building an audience. Duh. Secondly, engaging the audience. Thirdly, converting the audience and learning the skills and how to do that. But there's a fourth part to this that most people ignore. And when they stop ignoring it, it moves them into the top 5%. And that is building collaborations. Every collaborator I know is joyfully doing this because it brought them out of the doldrums of trying to do it themselves and do it in a small way. And all of them tell me the same thing, that things to learn on the way, but once you learn how to do it right, there's just no going back. It's the joy of socializing in a good way with other business partners that you feel good about, building loyal relationships and easy ones to generate good business. Okay, so the solution, the other thing I want to share is the solution may not be one method or platform. A lot of people come to me and say, well, does Facebook work? Oh, does LinkedIn really work? You're asking the wrong question. You want to look a lot deeper into your marketing and avoid the following mistakes. The first mistake is that people do not combine platforms. They only think of one platform or each platform that they're using, example, Facebook ads or Google or speaking, and they only look at doing one platform mostly. My encouragement to you is to look at having different platforms and combining the power of each platform so it produces way more of a powerful marketing engine for you. The second mistake is not designing from what you need. Most people think they want something, but they don't look at what they really need. What do I mean by this? You want to look at what you really need. If you need cash flow coming in, then you got to look at what will create cash flow. If you're looking at generating something more consistent in a sales engine, then you want to design that. If you're looking at creating more of an audience in a particular target market, then you want to look at that versus what you think you need. Most people don't think through. They say, I think I want this, but then they don't look at the primary question of, well, if I get what I think I want, where will it lead me? So people say, well, I think I want a Facebook ad thing that's going to give me 200,000 followers. I know a lot of people with 200,000 followers who don't have any business. I'll repeat it again for the hard of hearing. I know a lot of people with 200,000 or more followers who don't have any business because they thought they wanted a large audience on social media, but it was the wrong audience and not really what they needed. What you want to look at is the truth of what you really need versus what you want. And the sooner you get clear on that and moving aggressively in that direction, the sooner you will be in moving things forward in the business and feeling good about it. The third mistake is not collaborating with other people or not looking outside of your box of thinking. So a lot of us are lone wolves, and what I encourage you to look at is how to collaborate with other people, but don't just collaborate with the first person that comes to you. You want to go to a credible source or an environment or ecosystem where there are people who are collaborating, you're ambitious, generous, and friendly, and they want to work with you and they will up your game. So you want to look for people like that. Fourth mistake, not building an engine, but looking for quick results. This is probably one of the most common mistakes. This is why 95% of the people who come to me, I quickly let them know that, if you're looking for quick results, you can't work with me because it's just not what I can promise. Nobody can really promise that in all honesty, unless they have something quite miraculous. And if they do, that would be something I'd like to learn about as well. But what you want to look at is building a long-term sales engine. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes it takes a couple of months. You got to be patient to build the engine. If you need cash flow upfront, you want to get the cash flow upfront while they're doing it. Get aggressive about getting cash flow upfront. But you also want to look at building an engine long-term. Otherwise, you'll be going from one cash flow crunch to the next. Okay. So there's a new way that I encourage you to look at in terms of doing your marketing, and that is to combine and refine different platforms. This is what we do in our global meetup or global business mastermind. So we combine the power of Meetup, LinkedIn, digital marketing, and it's done both offline as well as online. Why do I say emphasize both offline and online? Because when you combine offline and online, you get the benefits of organic marketing, meeting people face to face, but also using your online systems to feed your offline audience and vice versa. You want to use both. It's amazing once you see this, how powerful it is and how easy it is for most people to miss it. Because most people think only in terms of online or offline. They never think of both. So one of the platforms we use is Meetup, and we're actually at some point going to move away from Meetup, but Meetup is a good platform for now. So some of you who know this, a lot of you came to me on this webinar from Meetup. Meetup is growing. It's currently at 37 million people, and I think even that number is outdated. What's driving the Meetup growth is the growth of cities. People are moving into cities all over the world. You may be surprised to hear that Lagos, Nigeria, will be the largest city in the world at 60 million people within the next decade. Can you imagine that? 60 million people. It's bigger than most countries are. People are moving to the cities. It's the same trend across the world. So Meetup is a good way for people who come into the cities who are new to meet and greet more people. So I assert that's one reason why Meetup is growing. Meetup also just got purchased by WeWork, which is $1 billion company that rents out office space. It's a good collaboration. It's a reason why my mastermind actually works with WeWork to get free locations, etc. They actually approached us, and that's one of the benefits of creating a large audience, especially on Meetup, is people start noticing you and they want to reach out to you and do collaborations. So it's a great way to attract high-level collaborators. Meetup makes money. There are some very standard ways of making money, but there's at least 6 ways that I share in my free reports, and there are actually way more than that when you come and join us in the mastermind, because the collaborations are where the creativity and the innovation takes off, and there's so much more opportunity, especially now that we have members in our mastermind from the UK, London, Edinburgh, and across the United States. So different people bring different ideas and different audiences. We have different target markets. We have people in the cryptocurrency world, etc. And the same thing happens on meetup.com. You have tons of people in different kinds of target markets that you can reach if you smartly use Meetup. And I mean Meetup done right and done smartly. If you learn how to do it, then you will be past most of the meetups out there which are probably failing because they weren't set up correctly for various reasons. I'm not going to go into in detail, but there are at least 6-7 reasons why most meetups fail and why meetups like mine continue to succeed and grow. Meetup can be done innovatively. A lot of people don't understand this or realize this, but for every in-person event you do on Meetup, you can actually do a webinar. Once you do webinars, you can start doing, you're not limited in your audience within your own town or city or even target market. You're looking at a global market. So I'll repeat it again for the hard of hearing. Meetup gives you the opportunity to access a global market, even though you don't have to set up meetup groups everywhere. And it's just a great opportunity to do that. Okay. The early adopter on Meetup, like just on Facebook marketing, gets the audience. And the opportunity is still now. I think that opportunity will be open for quite a while, for a couple of years from now. But you want to get in on early before more people get wind of what's going on. If you're listening on to this, I assure you, there are many people who have been in marketing for a long time who, when they hear what I'm saying, they're kind of surprised because they think, oh, Meetup is filled with really flaky people. It doesn't really work that well. And I'm kind of glad to hear that, because that shows that it's not a perfect market, which gives those of us who are willing to take the risk a little bit, not much of a risk really, to be honest, and a little bit of investment, far less than I would say in Facebook marketing, that you get an opportunity to get in and start building your Meetup presence. I'm not going to go through all of this, but Meetup, there are essentially two ways that you can join Meetup. A lot of you are free members. You came in for free account. And with a free account, you can look for any kind of event or group that you want to join. If it's business oriented or relating to your hobbies or golfing, you can almost assuredly find a Meetup group for it in most of the cities in the world. The other way you can participate in Meetup is as a paid account, in which case you become an organizer. You can have as many accounts as you wish, but in each account that is associated with one email address, you can have 3 Meetup groups. These Meetup groups, again, can have different kinds of interests. You can have a Meetup group of business, you can have another one for a different interest, so on and so forth. In each Meetup group, you can post as many events as you want. And as I mentioned earlier, for every in-person event, you can do a webinar under certain stipulations. Again, you got to learn how to do it right. If you do it right, then you can really grow your Meetup group pretty well. Meetup does a really good job of automatically managing RSVPs and reminders for people. I scarcely spent too much time on Meetup managing it, even in the early days when I didn't have a team. And I was managing about 10, 15 groups. I was doing it myself. It took me about 3 to 4 hours a month max. That's outside of travel to my Meetup and doing the presentation, which wasn't much for me. So that gives you an idea of how easy this is to do. Also, the cost for running a Meetup group is about $5 a month. So the actual cost of getting an account with 3 groups is $89.94 US dollars for every 6 months. Now that's a very, very affordable way to get your marketing done. Okay. So again, I covered there are many ways to make money. The standard way of making money is you have a Meetup event. Someone comes to the event. I mean, it's not someone, but a group of people come to your event. You do a presentation, and then at the end of the presentation, you either offer a free session, and then at the free session that's scheduled in the future, you upsell them into your service or your product. Or right at the event itself, you sell your service or product at the end. People who come to these meetups like to be educated. They want to meet you. They want to get to know you, whether they come on a webinar or an in-person event. And then they want to learn. And if you give them good content, this is key, you give them good content, but not too much content, then they will sign up for your programs. Okay. So a couple of things, again, I'm not going to go into vast detail here because I don't want to confuse you all, but very simply put, there are 3 stages in creating your Meetup groups in the right way. Now, most people don't do it this way, but I'll just share. Initial setup is when you design your Meetup groups and your events. You have to design and put some thought into it. You have to make sure that your whatever you're selling makes sense, that is compelling enough. And then based on what you're selling, you design your Meetup event or the free session that you offer at the end of your event. And then from there, you design your Meetup group. And that's the progression you should go into. You don't want to start with a Meetup group and then figure out how to connect the dots. You want to really design it really well. If you do that, then it's a fantastic thing. Once you design it, then you send in an application to Meetup for your group, because you have to apply to meetup.com to get your group approved. I understand how to do the application correctly, and the people that I help usually get their meetups approved fairly quickly, and they work pretty well and they launch pretty well. Once it gets approved, Meetup does this beautiful thing. It's really beautiful. No other marketing system does this, as far as I know. Once your group is set up and it's approved, Meetup will announce your group to all the people who you defined in your target markets for that group. And there are 15 target markets that you can define in each group, which is fantastic. Meetup will then announce your group and the events in that group to everyone within a 50-mile radius who expressed interest in those topics or target markets that you described. That's fantastic. So that's one good reason why you got to learn how to do it right. If you learn how to do it right, you get a good launch and your meetup groups continue to grow. Then there's the growth phase. The growth phase is where I tell people, listen, one meetup group, one event, one client, one of anything is not going to make your business. You got to think bigger. Thinking bigger and smarter. Thinking bigger, smarter with a good return on investment on your time. What I mean by this is you need to have more meetup groups. If you create more meetup groups, Meetup will promote you even more because it sees a lot of activity, etc. It wants to promote you more. So this is where you start growing when you have more meetup groups in one town or one area. Now, having more meetup groups does not mean you're going to do more events. You can do one or two events, but have all your meetup groups that are targeting different target markets, but all with the same interest in the same topics, come to one or two events that you host a month. I hope you all get this. Those of you who are getting this, I'm sure you're seeing the return on investment in your time. This is tremendous when you do it right. Okay, so that's the growth phase. The third stage is when you start doing collaborations and when Google starts picking you up. Now, like I shared earlier, I get about 30% of my business from Google, and they find people who come on Google searching for services like mine find my meetups. So, every time you post something on your event, or someone comes and RSVPs your group or joins your group, that indexes you as the organizer of the meetup in terms of Google. Now, Google's not going to reward you right away with good traffic. It'll take a couple of months because Google wants to make sure you're not trying to game the system. But when it rewards you very well. It's just a very, very strict border control agent, if I could use a really bad analogy, probably. But but once you get in, you're in. So when you start doing the collaborations and you start doing the meetups correctly, consistently over a few months, then you get rewarded very, very, very well. You want to learn to pace yourself in doing this. You can go fast, you can go slow. You want to go according to the pace that you can set for yourself. LinkedIn, when you combine it with Meetup, gets even more interesting. Those of you who are not on LinkedIn, I would encourage you to get on LinkedIn as quickly as possible and definitely connect with me because I love to connect with people who are on LinkedIn. LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to connect with high-level audiences. So on LinkedIn, though, when you connect with or request to connect with high-level connectors will only connect with you for two reasons. The first reason is that you have a good story or a narrative that they can share with other collaborators that makes you distinct. If you're a chiropractor, for example, and you connect with a high-level connector, and if you tell them that you're only a chiropractor, that's all you say, that is, they're not going to know how to refer you, see, because the people they're referring to probably already use chiropractors. So they got to understand how you're distinct and different from other chiropractors. That's one thing. The second thing is you got to have an audience or access to an audience. Because if you don't have an audience, they don't have any currency. I call it currency. They don't have any way or methodology to interact with you. But if you came to them and said, listen, I have 600 people. I know it's a small audience for you, but it's in my town, and I think they'll be very, very interested in hearing what you have to say. Then they are more interested, I would say at least more interested to talk with you. And you can now attract their attention. See, but without an audience like that they can verify online, that is, they went to your meetup group and saw your audience, they're more likely now to work with you. So I hope that makes sense. That's how you get high-level connectors in a solid, concrete way that makes sense for them and for you as well. So when you combine LinkedIn and Meetup power, your Google traffic increases even more. It's very simple. Google loves Meetup and LinkedIn. It doesn't compete with these guys as much as it does with Facebook, for example. So when you create LinkedIn groups, you create Meetup groups, and you do it smartly, Google starts paying attention because it sees that what you're doing makes sense and it's relevant content. It wants to expose your content to people who are searching for it. So, and then of course, when you get LinkedIn and Meetup together, you are creating credibility for both kinds of audiences, high-level audiences and large audiences. You can get the large audience on Meetup. You can also get the large audience on LinkedIn, but not as much. On LinkedIn, you're going to get high-level connectors. When you do both, people start noticing you. The marketing people who work for high-level connectors will almost inevitably notice you. If they're not, they're blind or comatose. They need to have an MRI done on them immediately. Okay, so if you start doing this, then you start attracting people. Now I'm going to pose a question. Who do you prefer? Someone who comes to you because they hear about you and want to do business with you, or when you reach out to people who are virtually strangers trying to convince them to do business with you? I think the answer is quite self-evident. You want to have people attracted to you. You want to create a strong, powerful magnet, not just some weak magnet, but a strong, powerful magnet. And part of that magnet is having a large audience for yourself. So again, I'm not going to go through all of this because I covered this in the early part of the webinar, but there are some details here. And again, there are 3 stages in creating a pipeline on Meetup. In fact, 3 same stages on almost any kind of channel that you use. And again, I'm not going to go through that again, but you can see that there are some stages in here, if you're glancing through this fairly quickly, that need to be gone through. It's a fairly detailed thing. It doesn't take up a heck of a lot of time. In fact, you're probably going to save a lot more time if you do this kind of focused work. I tell people this is the kind of focused kind of work that's going to give you a higher return on investment rather than trying to figure out and test things out based on a whim. So this is very testable, it's very refinable because you can see the results, you can see the engagement as you go along. Okay, it's not an overnight results phenomenon, but it's something that creates a long-term sales engine for you. Okay, we're almost towards the end of the webinar here, and I want to share a couple more things with you. So I want to share golden window opportunity for you, why, how you can take this to a breakthrough level, and why I promote my clients to large numbers of people. Some people I promote to 75,000, some people to 30,000. The people in my mastermind, I promise to promote them to 120,000 people at least once in that year. And we'll share more of that. First thing I want to do before that, though, is let you know about the Global Business Mastermind. In this mastermind, there are a couple of things you want to understand. Promote you to at least 120,000 my own audience once you get your branding up to par. I will work with you to get your branding up to par. You'll get to engage with the other ambitious, generous visionaries in my group. You'll build your own proprietary LinkedIn high-level connector network. You'll build your own mass scale meetup network targeted to your desired market, and that's not just in your local area, but also outside of it. Those of you who are interested in speaking and building a career there, Meetup is a great way to do it because you come with an audience, and organizations always like when you come with an audience because if you promote their event to your audience as well, you're more likely to get better speaking gigs. So this is a lifetime membership for a limited time. The advertised pricing is $5,997. I don't take everybody who comes to me, but I do take a number of people who are committed and show that they're serious. If you're interested in talking to me about it, it's a totally free chat that you can do. And you can go to www.meetupchat.com to set up that time. And that's a generous discount and payment options only for people ready to go. Again, we're looking for ambitious, generous, friendly, and committed people to join this group. The other thing I'm offering, and it's for next weekend, for those of you who are in the Bay Area of Northern California, I apologize to those of you who are outside, but you can travel too if you have the bandwidth and the budget to do so. Exponential Audience Workshop is next week in the Bay Area in Sunnyvale, California, to be more precise. In this webinar, we'll teach you how to do build your webinar audience exponentially. Again, this is, it's a workshop. It's not a full-blown mastermind, but it will teach you how to build your webinar audience, how marketing with LinkedIn and Meetup works. And I work to show specifically how it works. It's a very small, cozy group. I keep it to about 10, maximum 20 people, but I keep it very, very cozy. It's a 2-day workshop again. I'll show you how to get business from Google through Meetup, get high-level connections and masses of audience, how you can build up an audience in other cities between 7,200 to 10,000 people in a year, how to build and attract powerful joint ventures and speaking opportunities, and much, much more. It's a 2-day workshop, Friday and Saturday. This is not virtual, it's in person. And it's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day, Friday and Saturday, June 29th and the 30th. It's at the Sunnyvale Courtyard by the Marriott in beautiful Sunnyvale, California. It's $297 per person. And if you want to register, you go to www.exponentialaudienceworkshop.com. Okay. So those are the 2 things I'm offering. It's a global business mastermind. If you want to talk about that, reach out to me by meetupchat.com. I'm going to probably do that fairly quickly. I'm not trying to pressure anybody. I'm just telling you the truth. My time fills up pretty quickly. So schedule a time with me to talk, and we can discuss you being in the mastermind. You also have questions about the workshop. That's fine too. Reach out and schedule a time for me to do that. If you're already curious and want to register, go to www.exponentialaudienceworkshop.com. Also put the links in the chat box so you guys can register easily there as well. Okay, a couple of testimonials here from some of the people I've worked with in the past. Charlotte Jacobs runs a award-winning $1 million business right now, teaching healers, coaches, primarily in the Bay Area and Los Angeles, on how to build a good practice for themselves. And she's been doing it for quite a while now. I helped her triple her income when she first started with me. She still applies the principles that I taught many, many years ago to her. Cami Baker was in Boston with her audience and a meetup. She had a wait list and 75% over capacity in 48 hours. You'll see similar other results too in the other testimonials, so I'm not going to go through all of them. It gives you a good sense of how this works. There's actually more testimonials that I get. I actually literally ran out of time to post these, but these are the ones that I posted. So more on this. So how do you create breakthroughs in your business? Well, the first thing to do is you got to get out the idea that you only want to get one channel or only one meetup group going. You got to get more groups. You want to get more channels, more things that you use, not just Facebook, not just speaking, but you want to look at, okay, I want to get into meetups, I want to get into LinkedIn, and you want to look at how you can manage your time effectively. And I'll show you how to do that as well if you join our program, so that you can economically set up groups. See, when you set up more meetup groups and you have all those groups channeling 1 or 2 events that you do a month, then you're going to get more people showing up at your events, which turns into better conversions. But you got to learn how to do it right. So it's more groups that you want to set up. You want to do webinar and virtual events, and you want to learn how to do that. Some of you have told me, yeah, I'm not used to doing webinars. We also train people how to do webinars. I actually have a template that I give to people to use to design their own webinars and virtual events. And I actually work with you to fill out that template so it makes sense to you. For those of you who like to travel and do business at the same time, it's a great way to exponentiate your business. You don't have to do it, but those of you who like to travel, if you set up a meetup group in each city that you like to travel to, then you can enjoy doing business in the morning, for example, and do a meetup group in the meetup event in the daytime or early morning, and then enjoy the rest of the day being a tourist. The tornado effect is when you combine all of these things that I shared, collaborations, the meetup groups, etc., and you create a tornado effect, because what happens is when Google starts noticing that you're doing all this work on different platforms, it wants to promote you even more because you have relevant content. It wants to expose to people who are searching for that kind of content. You get an opportunity to build your own tribe, and this is important. So when you're building a business, you want to create an arena where you can conglomerate and get people who are more loyal customers, who are more likely to engage with you, and get them collaborating with each other. So that's one of the reasons I set up my own mastermind. So setting up your own tribe, you can set up your own tribe as a separate meetup group too, and have people join the separate meetup group and maybe pay a little bit more to join the group once they attend your free meetup groups and your free events. So there's a way of really powerfully creating a very good tribe, even using Meetup, and also on LinkedIn, you can do the same thing as well. You can build your email list very powerfully again with Meetup. It can be done very well. So you can build your own email list database and have it your own, so you don't have to rely on Meetup over time. Meetup does a lot of content distribution. A lot of people are surprised you can post content on Meetup, and it builds pretty good traffic for you. And then, of course, you got to get into collaborations, and this is where our mastermind comes in as well. It's an opportunity to create more powerful collaborations for you. So when you put all of this together, it creates a very powerful, I call it the overall tornado effect. But if you're only doing one or two of these things, then it's not going to give you the kind of traction you really could use. A couple more testimonials here from people I've worked with in the past. These are people I've produced results in. I'm not going to guarantee results for anybody, but this is a slow build. Like all my clients know, it's not an overnight thing. It takes a while to generate results and a sales engine. I rather people generate a good sales engine than try to get overnight sales. It makes more sense to build a good engine. Julie Parker is the second testimonial here. She's been really good. She's also created a wolf pack. This testimonial was about a year ago, I want to say. But now she's got a huge following in Houston, and her events are getting, they're getting waiting lists, and she's doing really, really, really good. Okay, there's a quiz here. So these are questions on blind spots that people have. What is the greatest risk of all? And some of you who are in the financial world will be able to answer this pretty quickly, especially on financial management for businesses. The greatest risk is opportunities lost. When you lose opportunities because you're focusing on other things that may not make sense. So you want to look at opportunities that make sense for you and give you a good return on investment. Why is it urgent to take action now? The biggest risk is opportunity cost. And a big opportunity I'm putting in front of you right now is the opportunity to collaborate with me and get promoted to 80,000. I know the numbers keep jumping on because it's hard for me to even keep track, but the latest number is 120,000 people. Why is collaboration so important? Because collaboration gets you out of the mode of just operating by yourself and gets you into a bigger game. It's not too difficult to get into that bigger game. Most of that barrier is psychological. I'll repeat it again. Most of the barrier is psychological. Most people think, I'm not quite ready for it. And then they keep thinking they're not ready for it for many years before they say, I'm ready for it. So you want to really look at creating collaborations because they get you out of your box, they get you into a wider audience, and it almost forces you to become a better business person and a better presenter. Because if you're playing at a small level, then your presentations are probably going to stay small as well. But when you get a wider audience, you get more feedback, you get better feedback, and tells you how to improve your presentation by leaps and bounds. So you want to go for the collaborations that give you bigger audiences, that give you a wider range of feedback. Other opportunities. Now is the time to create a new future, like I shared earlier, and have that future become real. It's one thing to create a future, think about it, and some of you will continue to think about it, unfortunately, and a few of you will actually want to make that future real and realize that you have to do some work to make it happen. So a couple of things about the mastermind. If you're thinking about it, how much time does it take? Honestly, if you're asking that question, I'm going to answer two questions. Firstly, if you're in a business, you got to spend at least 10 to 20 hours doing marketing. If you're not, chances are you're not going to generate a business. Now, if you have a team, that's fine, but they need to be doing at least 10 to 20 hours of marketing. The other part, I will answer straight the question, if you're looking at doing the mastermind, it's going to take you about an average of 3 to 4 hours a week, in addition to maybe what you're doing right now, but that's really difficult to ascertain until you actually get in the program. Do we take payments for the program? Yes, we do. Under limited cases, we do. So if you're interested in doing the program and you want to participate, then, we just need to have a conversation. And if you're committed, and friendly, and generous enough, then we'll consider you for payments. If you're new and have no audience, I really don't care, honestly. What I care about mostly is if you're committed to do the work. That's the primary thing that I'm looking at. If you're committed to doing the work and you're committed to getting in the program and doing the work, then I don't really care too much if you have an audience right now, much of an audience at all, because that can be rectified. I've done that many times with people. For example, Charlotte Jacobs, who had virtually no audience, not much of an audience, and taking her to the next level. It's mostly your own psychology that's the barrier. That psychology, by the way, can be easily circumvented or conquered by you just giving yourself permission to play a bigger game. Once you give yourself permission, then the world starts working with you. And this might sound weird, but it's absolutely true. Because when people start hearing that you're willing to take the risk and go out there and generate an audience, most people start responding. Firstly, some people are kind of surprised. Other people are going, well, I want to support you. How can I help you? So you'll be surprised at how social we are really as human beings once people start speaking up and saying what they really want. Again, so we are offering the Global Business Mastermind, and it's an opportunity to get promoted to 120,000 people. We'll get your branding up to par, get an opportunity to engage with 65 other ambitious, generous visionaries. If you have any questions about this, feel free to email me. Some of you already emailed me and texted me some questions. I will answer this, and I know some of you have already set up the Meetup chat session with me. So congratulations to those of you who did that, taking the step. That's really great. I look forward to having a conversation with you. Also, those of you who are on the brink of doing this, I would say the only way you're going to find out and move forward is having a conversation with me. Otherwise it's going to be a mystery, and you can live in that mystery, and that's fine. But I tell people, listen, you have an opportunity to go to long-term joy versus long-term suffering. But long-term joy requires you taking a risk, which is short-term suffering. So to get to long-term joy, you got to do the short-term suffering. You got to take the move forward. You got to take the step. You got to take the risk. And obviously, I'm not asking you to do anything silly or stupid for your life, for your business, but you got to take that initial step. If you don't take that initial step, nothing will happen. So in this program, you'll get an option to get connected to high-level connectors, build your own mass-scale meetup network, build your speaking career if you're interested in doing that. But the most important thing is you're going to build your confidence to a new level, because you'll get to engage with people who are a little higher than you, a little bit more experienced, or a lot more experienced and higher than you, depending on how far you want to go. Cost for the membership for a lifetime is $5,997. We'll work with you for payments if you demonstrate that you're committed. I'm totally there with people who are committed and want to do this. There's a free chat if you're serious. You want to go to www.meetupchat.com. I'll post this once again because some of you are asking. So this is the link again. I'll put it in the Meetup chat so you can see it, and you can click on the link and set up a time with me to talk. Again, we give generous discount and payment option only for people who are ready to go and who are committed. Okay. And then the other option is the Exponential Audience Workshop. If you want to sign up for that, go to exponentialaudienceworkshop.com, and it's pretty well self-explanatory there. It's $297 per person, and that's going to be a 2-day workshop, Friday and Saturday next week, Sunnyvale Courtyard by the Marriott in Sunnyvale, June 29th and 30th. We have other dates on that webpage as well. I believe we have July open as well right now, so you can sign up for that as well. Okay, so that's pretty much our program for today. Thank you for the opportunity to make a difference with you. I know I'm getting some positive comments for this webinar. I appreciate all of that. Again, I urge you, if you're on the brink, you want to do something, get into action, at least get a Meetup chat with me, or do a chat with me by going to meetupchat.com and schedule a time right there. So very great. Otherwise, I'll see you soon. Take care. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.